Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Overnight Gaming Podcast, episode number 2. Each week, three best friends get together and talk about our favorite video game news stories from the past week, what games we've been playing. Well, we have Leonard behind the computer, Jason on the mic, and I'm Chris. What's up today, Jason? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing not too bad. We want to go ahead and apologize to everyone listening to the show today that we are uploading a little bit late. We had a bit of technical circumstances yesterday, so we apologize for any inconvenience you may have had if you wanted to listen to the podcast. But I'm feeling pretty good today. How you feeling? You feeling good? We got a lot of Nintendo news today.
Yeah, it's a pretty Nintendo saturated episode.
We'll go ahead and get started with the biggest news of the week: the Nintendo Switch Lite, which was announced this week. According to Nintendo, which releases on September 20th, 2019 this year. It's going to come with three different colors. It's a little bit smaller than the original Nintendo Switch that they have now. So it's going to be a little bit lighter. There's going to be no detachable Joy-Cons. They're actually adding a proper D-pad to this controller to the left Joy-Con. I don't know if we still call it a
I
Joy-Con
don't think we
since
call it a Joy-Con anymore, just the left side of the console. Like,
so they're actually adding a proper D-pad to the
call it
controller, which is
Joy-Con for the
good.
rest of the world.
Unfortunately, for us who have original Joy-Cons, they're not going to release the proper D-pad on new Joy-Cons in the future,
Well,
which is rather unfortunate.
he didn't say like
No,
100% no.
he
He said
did.
at this time, did he say like no? Doug Bowser?
Doug Bowser absolutely came out and said, "We are not putting the proper D-pad
Well, well,
on future Joy-Cons,"
he
which is
responded with one of those like really CEO responses of like, at this time, we see no real reason to put a proper D-pad.
exactly.
But like
It blows my mind.
the way you said it sounded as if he contacted them to tell them that,
No, Doug Bowser
tweeted it.
personally called me on my cell phone
"Hey, Chris, I want
yesterday
you to know."
afternoon and said, "I need to let you know something right now. You're going to be very disappointed if you do not buy the Nintendo Switch Lite because you are not getting a proper D-pad." Anyway, moving on.
It sounds like he's strong-arming you.
They are
It's
improving
a
the
nice
battery life.
D-pad you got. Be a shame if something were to happen to it.
They're improving the battery life only by about half an hour, from 2.5 hours
I
to
think,
around 6.5 hours, from
I think
3 hours to
it's
7 hours.
7 hours, yeah, 7 hours is the max out, but that's
Yeah.
on, like, smaller indie games. If you're playing Breath of the Wild in this thing, it's probably gonna go
Oh,
for,
yeah.
what,
Well,
4 hours, I
that's
wanna
why
say it
they
said?
say 3 to 7 instead of 6 to 7, because they know that Breath of the Wild is gonna destroy your battery. They're taking out the IR function from the Joy-Con controllers since there are no Joy-Cons, and this is the big one, the HD rumble functions, which is very surprising considering, at least in Mario Odyssey, you absolutely need the HD rumble function to find certain moons in the game. So I'm
They
not
took the
sure if they're
gyroscope out too, right?
the gyroscope will still be in there, so you can still move the system around for the Breath of the Wild aiming or the Splatoon aiming. That's still
Okay,
going to be in there, but the
okay.
rumble feature is going to be taken out, which again I don't quite understand that. And then the biggest piece of information from this is it will not be able to be output to the TV. It will not be able to use the dock whatsoever. You can only play games that are usable in tabletop mode, which I saw
That
some
that
people
They didn't
were
even say
getting.
tabletop mode. Actually, the official site says that you can't play a game that's in tabletop mode or TV
Yeah.
mode, only handheld.
The only in handheld. Yeah, that's right. I think there's Mario Party was available in tabletop mode. You actually need separate Joy Cons in order to play that
See,
to
that's the
play the
craziest
tabletop
thing.
version.
That's the craziest thing is that he came out and he said no tabletop mode, which is like whatevs. They didn't put a little kickstand on the back of it, which again is
Yeah,
whatevs.
no kickstand.
But then he turns right around and says like you'd have to sync like another set of Joy Cons to it in order to play Mario Party. And it's like, well, which is it? Like, can we play Mario Party on
Well,
it? It seems like they're saying yeah. Or
Mario
one two
Party can
switch. Sorry, one
only
two switch. He says.
one to Switch. Yeah, I was gonna say Mario Party can only be played docked anyway, unless
Well,
you use the
it can be played
tabletop
in
version.
tabletop mode, which I
Yeah.
feel like Mario Party can be played on it. If you're already syncing other Joy Cons to it, you'd be able to play Mario Party. I don't know why you would.
But
That
Mario
tiny ass
Party
screen.
only has that one particular mode. It's like two different mini games that you can play in tabletop mode. The whole game itself is not playable in
Oh, I
tabletop mode.
actually didn't know that. I have
Yeah.
Mario Party, but I've only ever played it in docked.
Yeah. The game is only playable in docked except for those two particular modes,
Oh,
and
I had
and on
no
those
idea.
two modes, you need like two different Switch systems,
Here's
and
the
you
thing.
like connect them together.
Why are we even discussing Mario Party? It's not like Nintendo has supported it since it's come out.
Well, I mean, it seems like they should have. I mean, Mario Party seems one of the games like Splatoon where it's just ripe for DLC, for new maps to play through, for new obstacles to use, for new characters. I
They're
mean,
gonna
it just
release
seems like ripe for DLC.
they're gonna release a handheld DLC is what they're gonna do. There's some ridiculous crap like that.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, obviously Mario Party is not going to get any more support. We would have heard something by now, but for the
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch Lite, it's going to be coming in three different colors: yellow, gray, and turquoise. I prefer the gray myself,
I'm a
and it
big
will
big fan
retail
of turquoise.
turquoise. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It will retail for the price of $200. And now, what's really cool about the colors is I really like on each of the different versions, all of the buttons, all the face buttons, and analog sticks, they're all white, so they contrast the actual color of the system, and I think it actually looks really good.
They also, because I watched Spawn Wave. I don't know if you Spawn Wave, but he pointed out when he was covering this that the screen is smaller. But if you notice, looking at the photo of it, they colored in that little black
Yep.
outline. They colored
Mhm.
it in with the color of the thing to try and
Which
make
is
it
really
look.
nice.
I really like what it looks like. I think it would feel
Mhm.
really good in your hands. The D-pad's really nice. All that being said, I'm probably not going to buy. I doubt I'm buying one. I will not buy one for me.
The problem with the Nintendo Switch Lite is it's smaller than the Nintendo Switch currently. And the reason why that is a problem is because I already have an issue because I think of myself as having bigger hands. And so when I'm playing my Nintendo Switch Lite in handheld mode, especially like I told you, I had talked to you about this before, I cannot play Splatoon 2 in handheld mode. It's just
I
not
can't either.
possible.
It's
Warframe, I can't
nauseating.
play in handheld mode. Breath of the Wild, I prefer to not play in handheld mode just because everything feel those games all feel better with the actual Pro controller. So with this system actually being smaller than the current Nintendo Switch, there's no way that I'll be able to play a lot of games in handheld mode. Maybe indies, obviously I could probably do, but
Oh, games
any of
like
the
Mario
bigger.
Kart, I guarantee Mario Kart would feel really nice in handheld mode. It
Oh
already
yeah.
feels good in
Hmm.
handheld mode. Games like Mega Man 11
Oh
would
yeah.
like any
Mega
sort of
Man's
side
built for
scroller,
handheld.
Donkey Kong, any of these like side scrollers, racers, maybe some third person shooters, depending, maybe even some first person shooters,
I
depending on how.
that's where I have to get cut you off there because I don't think any type of shooter would be very well on a handheld. Like I said, just Splatoon 2. It's the most simple shooter that you can get across any of the consoles, and I can't even do it in handheld mode because the precision, just the analog sticks don't feel very well in handheld mode. I just have to have the Pro controller. I have to disagree with the third party third
I've
person
been
games or the first person games.
I've been playing Resident Evil Revelation. I've been replaying. I replayed
Oh yeah.
Revelations 1. I'm playing Revelations 2, and I mean, it feels pretty good in handheld mode. But it's the over the shoulder.
And see,
It's
I,
basically a fixed camera point. So maybe that's what it is. A fixed camera shooter, I think, would be pretty good.
I think Revelations 1 would be a little tough for me because that one is a little more action oriented. As far as Resident Evil 2 or Revelations 2, I think that would be a little easier in handheld mode because it is a little more puzzle based and it's slowed down a lot more from the previous Revelations. So, but I can see what you're coming from that.
I played Revelations 1 the first time on my like base 3DS, and I honestly don't remember how it played on the 3DS. I'm
I
sure not
couldn't
as
imagine
smoothly
it
as
was
it
good.
should. Dude, I was obsessed with that game when I got it. I was like every day I had my headphones in. I'm just like sitting on the couch at home, like, leave me alone, Dad. I'm 23. Uh,
And Nintendo actually announced they're actually going to have a Pokemon Sword and Shield version of the Nintendo Switch Lite, which looks absolutely amazing. It's going to be the gray system, and it's going to have the analog, the D-pad, the face buttons. Both the analogs, the face buttons, and the D-pad are going to be different color differently than just plain white. The left side of the controller, the left side of the system is going to be in the light blue, and the right side of the system is going to be kind of that pinkish. the
It
reddish
looks
pink
way it
thing.
looks way redder in the shield thing. It's the same color, but on the front of it, it looks kinda
Yeah.
pink, like a salmon
Yeah, it
color.
does look, but it looks gorgeous.
It's
This is
gorgeous.
on the back of the system. They have you said it was an engraving, right?
It's an
Of
engraving, yeah, they always engrave into the case with
the
these.
engraving of each of the legendary Pokemon from the new game Sword and Shield on the back of the system. And let me tell you what, man, if I was gonna get a Nintendo Switch Lite, this is the version that I would get. Now, unfortunately, it's not gonna come with Pokemon Sword and Shield because it releases a week before the game does. But this version of the Switch Lite looks phenomenal. I love it. But I
I I
usually go ahead.
I actually like every one of like, the gold color, I just realized the same gold color as a Mario block.
Oh, is it? I didn't even look
Yeah,
at it that hard.
it's the same color as the Mario block. So I gotta say, I'm jumping back, sorry, yellow is also gorgeous. They're all gorgeous.
They are pretty, but
I
the
wish they were
Pokemon Sword
relevant
and
to me.
Shield one is by far the best, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
and that means it's gonna be the hardest to get. I actually heard that the pre-orders went up for Japan over the weekend, the system is not region locked. So if you're able to get a pre-order from Japan, you can actually get it shipped to the U.S.
That
That way
was
you can
probably the
get that
best
version.
decision Nintendo's made in a while is
Oh
to take
yeah.
all region locking off of their stuff. It was such a good idea.
Mm-hmm. And
Especially with I don't know if you've seen some of the like Game of the Year edition, not Game of the Year, but like the special editions of some games. They're not coming to the West. They're PAL locked. Well, they're not locked, but they're from PAL.
yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say, yeah, you can still import them. It'll
so I
probably
can.
cost you a couple extra bucks, but I mean, if
Well,
you're
I have
willing,
a friend in Europe who I'm just
yeah,
gonna see if I can have him order it
I
online
was
for
gonna
me.
say if you're willing to spend that much money on the collector's edition or the bonus extras anyway, then you're probably willing to spend an extra $10 or whatever to get it shipped to your house from out of the
10's
states.
a little low.
Well,
uh,
I don't know. I don't buy stuff from out of the
it's
states,
true.
so.
You haven't had international shipping charges.
All right. Do you want to go ahead and take up the next Nintendo news story?
I got one more thing to say about the Switch Lite.
Okay.
Actually, I am kind of hurting inside because I pretty much guarantee that how beautiful these things are means that we're never getting a regular Switch Special Edition again.
I don't think that's right.
Like,
I mean, look at the history of Nintendo consoles, right? So they always come out with a lighter version and then a heavier version, like each generation. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and they always come out with multiple special editions. Look at the Wii U that didn't even sell that well, and they had the what was that? What was this Legend of Zelda? The Wind Waker version. Dude, I wanted the Wind Waker Wii U so bad. I thought it looked gorgeous. So I
yeah.
absolutely think that we're gonna get special editions of the current Nintendo Switch. But now that you mention that, what does this mean for the 3DS support? So
Well,
does
that's
this
the
mean that the
thing.
3DS is dead with the Nintendo Switch Lite?
It officially does not. Um,
Does not.
I was gonna elaborate on that actually. Another thing from Bowser, he 100% said that like we're not leaving the 3DS behind. We're still gonna support the 3DS,
But they
which
have no games in development
they
for the
have 0
3DS.
games in development for. I think what this means is that at the moment, Nintendo, and I can't say that I blame them, they're not willing to abandon the like billion strong consumer base of the 3DS. All evidence to me, I think it's pretty obvious that this thing is going to replace the 3DS within the next year,
Absolutely. It has to.
especially around Christmas. I love my 3DS. I love the DS line, the 3DS, 2DS, like all that. It's like, well, it's a decade old now, right? The hardware
Yeah, a
is
little bit
falling
longer, I
behind.
think.
Yeah, I think it's like 11 years now. The hardware is
It's been
falling a
a
little
while.
behind. Nobody's really developing for it anymore. The Switch has cartridge-based games, so like
Yeah,
I don't think first party they're going to support it anymore, but I also don't think they're going to like shut down online for it, stuff like that. I think that's what they mean.
well, I mean, I understand that because the user base that the 3DS has is extraordinary. So I understand like keeping the servers on for them, but there's no way that they're gonna come out and be like, "Hey guys, in the next Nintendo Direct, you're gonna be like, we have all these Switch titles.
Luigi's
Also,
Mansion
don't
4 coming to
forget
3DS.
this game is coming out on 3DS. It's not a Nintendo first party, but it's a game." No, every Nintendo Direct from here on out is going to be Switch only. There's going to be nothing else for the 3DS. I think
And
they're
I
going to. I think they're going to keep releasing numbers from the Nintendo Switch Lite. Oh, it sold millions and millions of copies within the first year, and then they're just going to like PlayStation did with the Vita. It's just one day they're just gonna pop up out of nowhere and say, "Yeah, well, we're actually not making any more 3DSs, so buy them while you can."
I think
Because
production has probably stopped on 3DSs, 2DSs now,
I
like
don't,
the
I don't,
2DS XL.
I don't know if it's stopped yet. I think it'll stop next year. I think once the Nintendo Switch Lite comes out this year and they see them first sales numbers coming from the holiday season this year, I think that means once they see those numbers, then next year around probably April or May when they have their next shareholders meeting, I bet you that's when they start announcing that they're going to stop make production on the 3DS line. But
That's a
speaking
pretty good
of
prediction.
handhelds, what do you think this means for our HD version of the Switch? Because Doug Bowser has come out and said clearly this Nintendo Switch Lite is the only hardware revision that we have for the Switch this year. So does that mean that
Uh,
we do not get an HD Switch?
you're
Is it going to
misquoting a
be an
little.
HD Switch?
He said that this is the only hardware announcing this from Nintendo. There is a Switch revision coming. At least evidence points that way. I actually have an Ars Technica article pulled up. Switch will be getting a little, like a slight bit of an upgrade. But this is that like wave two sort of thing. Like all consoles do this. It's basically they're just changing production. Like it's getting a little bit stronger of a processor. Like it's a processor that uses less battery
Energy or
power.
battery power? Yeah.
Yeah, which is this processor might already be in the Switch Lite. Like this might be what they're already producing Switch Lite.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe.
but yeah, it's NVIDIA's improved Tegra X2 chip is what they're talking about here.
Oh, of course, the Integra X2 chip.
Yes,
Yes, of
yes,
course.
obviously. I mean, we've been talking about that for moments. But anyway, yeah, like it's just a little bit of an upgrade on the chip, a little bit of a strengthening of the processor. That's not going to be our big time revision.
No.
When it comes to an upgraded Switch,
Would
like this
would it be like a Switch
4K H,
XL?
it wouldn't be like a. It honestly, it looks a little bit like the Switch XL. Not
You
like
think so?
actual XL, but like like the new Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah, where it added that stupid C stick.
Well, it added a C stick, which by the way, I love. Got me right through Resident Evil Revelation. I'll tell you what. That like slight power upgrade. The only reason that they even made the new Nintendo 3DS is they added that little C stick. There's a little bit of a processor upgrade. This looks like it's going to be just like that little bit of a processor upgrade, but since they're not changing the form factor of the Switch, it's not going. I don't think it's going to be announced. I
Well,
think this is going to be one of those small tech like tweaks they do on a system in the second generation.
what I'm looking for though is, are they going to make an HD Switch, or are they
Well,
just going to stick with the Switch that they have now, or maybe could they just have a better dock where the dock takes
that
maybe the
is a
dock has a processor in
hundred
it,
percent what I expect to happen.
so
I
that they
expect a new dock.
yeah, because then they wouldn't even Nintendo won't do that though. I guarantee it, because then that takes away from Switch sales that they could have. But if they could say, "Oh, you already have a Switch. All you need to do is buy this hundred hundred
You could
dollar,
charge
hundred
a
and fifty
hundred
dollar
hundred
dock."
and fifty dollar dock. Yeah, you could
Yeah,
charge a hundred
which
hundred fifty
takes
bucks.
which adds this significant amount of processing power to the Nintendo Switch when docked, so you can play Doom at 1080p, 60 frames. Well, okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
No, no, no. You're not wrong. Like
1080p,
they could run a
30
second
frames a
processor.
second.
They could run a second processor, a second GPU in a dock, like in a dock system.
That would be so cool, because then you could dock your Switch, you can have that HD PlayStation 4 or Xbox One experience on your Nintendo Switch, and then on the go you still can play that exact same game. It'll just be at a lower resolution and obviously a lower frame rate. So that would actually be
I
really cool.
I'd be 100% for that. I hope Nintendo does
Absolutely.
that. I don't know if that's what we'll get. I really don't know if they'll do like a Switch Plus or anything like that. And I do think that we'd probably get a Switch Plus. Like I think that would be sort of the name for it, if
Oh
that makes
man,
any
like
sense.
that Pokemon thing that they announced. What was it? Pokemon Plus Plus or some crap?
Yeah, like I feel like we're gonna get like a plus. I really do think it's gonna be like Switch Plus.
Or I don't know. I feel like maybe I like Switch HD better.
I mean, we're gonna get, like, the new Nintendo Switch. They're gonna is what they're gonna say. Uh, but yeah, I think do you wonder if they'll do, like, a home console period? Like, no walk out of your house with it, like,
No, absolutely
version?
not. Absolutely not. There's
Because
no
I've
way
heard
that they would
rumor that.
do.
I personally don't think it would happen either. I think that would be the silliest
I feel like
goal.
they're already preventing that with releasing the Switch Lite because there a lot of the people that like to play their Switch out of the house, they're more than likely going to pick up the Switch Lite. That way they can leave their current Switch on dock and then they can have the Switch Lite and just run around do whatever and then come home, throw your Switch Lite on the charger, continue playing your game where you left off on your Switch on your dock. But I mean, for me, that's why it's a Switch, because you can already do that, but that's just me.
Well, that's the entire point of the name. They said that in the announcement video. The Nintendo Switch, switches. I personally do. I can't wait until September 12th. I really can't. Because as soon as people get this thing, as soon as they get that light, they're gonna strip it down. They're gonna tear it apart. They're gonna try everything they can about it.
They're gonna
And
abuse it and break it.
I guarantee that I say at least within a month, somebody will have a Switch Lite playing on their television.
We'll have to wait and see, man. I Let's go ahead and move on to our next Nintendo story. What do you got?
It was actually that revision thing.
Oh,
It's just an FCC request. The Verge picked it up. Nintendo on July 2nd filed seeking a quote class 2 permission change unquote for the original Switch model. The request says the new hardware revision will feature a quote change of SoC type unquote and a quote change of NAND memory type unquote and a new CPU board to accommodate those changes. So it's an upgrade by a very marginable amount. Like a very it's more of this is probably it's slightly better battery life, a little bit newer tech. It's going to be the same price. It's not going to be a $50
so
jump.
so it's gonna be like when they quietly changed the insides of the PS4. So
That's
it
exactly.
sounded like an airplane to sounded like a one engine plane
It is,
or
yeah,
something.
it is exactly like that. It's going from a engine Cessna to a single engine Cessna. But yeah, I
Okay.
think it's going to be exactly like that. Like that's just going to be the switch they produce from now on. Like from this point on, we've
Oh
stopped
yeah.
producing it with these parts. We're producing it with these parts now. That's the thing. I do. This isn't necessarily Switch new, exactly, but it is about Monolith Soft. Have you heard about the Monolith Soft stuff?
Those are the guys that did Xenoblade Chronicles,
They did
right?
Xenoblade Chronicles. That's like their big one, Xenoblade. They have
Yeah.
been picking up tons of new studios.
They've been buying studios?
They've been buying studios.
What studios? Like indie devs
Uh,
or something?
Sort of small studios. I have this from gamesindustry.biz. It's Monolith Soft has opened a new studio in Japan. A growth in scale and matches growth with profits. So yeah, they opened a brand new studio
So
in
the
Osaki.
open studios they're not buying studios.
Well, they said in a statement, the new premises are in Osaki, a district in northern Tokyo. The company said in a statement, Monolith Soft has been based in Japan's capital since it was founded in 1999. It also has a studio in
Wow.
Kyoto, contributed to the development of Nintendo games since 2011. It's currently working on Breath of the Wild 2.
Excellent.
It started hiring for that project. I don't know if you saw about that. They've got
Yeah, it was last year,
temps
right?
up. Yeah. Well, they've started hiring again recently, so they're actually
Yeah.
picking up production on this game. Like they're hiring people, probably just to come in and like do some cleanup work, a few programs, things like that. I think they're
Yeah,
really
it's not gonna
pushing.
be cleanup work. That game's not coming out until 2021 at the
Dude,
earliest.
that game is I'm almost certain it's going to come out in late 2020.
No way.
With
No
the way
way.
that Monolith Soft's been picking up steam, I'm almost certain we're looking at a holiday 2020 release.
No way.
I feel
That
it in the
game is
bone.
I'll put money on it right now. That game comes out in March 2021
I think in November 2020.
because the Breath of the Wild came out in March. It was the launch one of the launch title for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, in
So that game is
2018.
so you can bet your bottom dollar that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be a March release. In
Dude,
the middle,
they've been working on this game for a lot longer than anybody's known about. This started
I,
out as DLC to the
I was
game.
gonna say who was doing the DLC because the DLC went a little ways into was it 2017 or into 2018?
It was into 20 no, it was all out before the end of 27.
That's right, because they had the surprise launch at the Game Awards. I remember that
Yeah.
now.
So, like, we've got 2018.
Okay.
They've been
S
working on it for the entire year last year. They're working on it right now. I think we're getting a 2020,
I guess I could see it too.
especially with the
No,
way Monolith Soft is booming right now, dude, and
if
they're dragging people in. They've got temporary things up. They're bringing people in to work on.
if they started full production in 2018, that would give them a little over 2 years. They can use a lot of the assets that they already have in Breath of the Wild. I guess I could see them announcing it for late 2020, but I feel like they'd delay it to
It
20
might it
2021.
might get pushed back. You might be right, but I think they're aiming for an end of 2020 release.
Mm.
I really
I feel
think they
like
are.
that game is too big to come out in the fall, though. You know what I mean? Like when people, especially because they chose the name Breath of the Wild 2, that has
Coming
such a
out before Christmas,
significant.
dude. I think they're gonna pump that out before Christmas.
They have such a significant impact. That name has such a significant impact in the Switch ecosystem that I feel like it would have to come out in its own area.
It
Like if this game was replaced Red Dead Redemption 2, then those games that tried to release earlier, like Call of Duty, or try to push their game back, like the Sega All Stars Racer, like I don't
yeah.
feel like they would have moved their games. I feel like they would have just let them come out in their normal times because it's Zelda Breath of the Wild. I think Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 needs its own time to shine, not because it's going to be a bad game or anything, just
I
because
think it's going
Nintendo wants to give it that breathing room. So I feel like it's going to be a March release.
I think it will be more than happy to push anything out of the release window period. I don't think anybody's gonna wanna release against.
I mean, I don't know. It's a tough call because it does have that reputation, but it doesn't have. I don't know. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. You want to go ahead and move on to the next Nintendo story?
Yeah, what do you got?
We have we have the Nintendo Online. Uh,
Oh, yeah, that's a great thing that I
so
personally feel in an official statement is in no way falling behind anyone else's online.
Well, I hate to contradict you, sir, but Shigeru Miyamoto himself at a shareholders meeting this past week has said that they do not believe that their online services or VR services, they said specifically, in quote here, we have not fallen behind with either VR or network services, end quote. Now, I find that very interesting considering that Nintendo's online service sucks. It is horrible. The
Well,
online connectivity, the chat features, the game support, just all around the online services. We're not even talking about, we're not even going to get into the VR stuff.
I will actually say, that I think their connectivity's not been terrible. I guess I don't play a lot of it online. I play Mario Kart mostly and Smash Brothers online, and I've not had bad connections
Okay.
that I think are, like, the game's
So
fault?
I
I don't
think
really know.
it's highly it weighs heavily on the game. So Splatoon 2 when it first came out, there was a lot of
I
connectivity
remember
issues.
that very much, yeah. By
It's
the end of
cleaned
it,
up.
though,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's cleaned up a lot now. You still get some every now and then, but it's cleaned up a lot since it first released. Mario Kart 8 still has, in my opinion, some some concerns with connectivity because I still get kicked from games just randomly when I'm trying to play.
they're
What
dropping you because 'cause
was
you're a cheater, clearly.
No.
There's no
Super
way he
Smash
jumped
Bros.
that.
Ultimate was absolutely terrible when it
Dude,
launched
it
with
does lag like
connectivity,
hell in the fights.
lag, connection problems, and their latest one that just came out, Super Mario Maker 2, absolutely horrible with filled with lag. And now what concerns me here is those are just the first party titles. We're not even talking about the third party titles. Those are the first party titles who work not directly with Nintendo Online, but they're the closest you can get to Nintendo Online, and they can't even get their own games to run properly online, and they want to say they haven't fallen behind. I don't understand this statement. I mean, I get
Well,
that.
very clearly, they're not running the same race as anybody else. I really think it's that. I really think that they're just like, "No, we're doing fine. No, it's fine. Have you
I,
played any other console?
I get
I
it.
play Persona 5."
They're at a
So,
shareholders
yeah.
meeting, so the majority of it is about money. So money-wise, what did they I think the last report was they had like 10 or 15 million subscribers. So it's not horrible, or maybe even 20 million. It's not a horrible amount by any means. So they're making a ton of money off of this service, especially with how cheap it is. It's only
It's
20
actually
20
really
bucks a
affordable,
year.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really cheap service,
And
but
there's just a
as
selling point
far
for
as
me.
the connectivity issues, and then the services that they offer, like when you buy PlayStation Plus, you get now you only get 2 games, but you get some, and a lot of the times now, some significant games, like you got Borderlands 2 last month, you got Sonic Mania, you have Detroit this month, and then Xbox Live has their games with gold, and you get big games on there. I think one day that the one month they had like Dark Souls on there, so you get some really cool stuff there. But then for the Nintendo online service, we get the NES classics, and
Yeah, which are
I
fun,
you
but I
you
don't really
play them?
play. Like, I hop on regular Zelda, play that a bit. From time to time, I wanna run through Mario Brothers. I'm not playing most of those games.
Exactly.
I was really excited for it when I saw it. Another thing Nintendo is once again also falling behind a bit is your, like, digital game things, which, we'll jump back to the Nintendo Lite really quick. Doug Bowser made a statement that they're working on making sure that you can play your games that you have on your, like, home Switch on your Switch Lite, like, making sure you can download the same sort of games
I
on
think
it.
they have a fix for that already, right? Yeah,
From what I'm to understand, they do. I only have the one Switch. So, like,
yeah, I only have one as well, but from my understanding is they say that you can make one switch a primary switch and the other switch a secondary switch, and the secondary switch only has to remain connected to the internet in order to play the same games that are on your account.
which
So
I
the
think is too
solution
much when it comes to the Switch Lite, because, I mean, if you're on the go, how often are you connected to the internet when
well,
you're on a bike?
that's the thing, you just have to play the system. So what you do is, and I was listening to the Kind of Funny Games Daily podcast the other day, and they put it, this is where I learned this from. They said all you have to do is make your dock switch your secondary switch. So the switch you currently have, make that your secondary one. And when you get the Switch Lite, you make that your primary switch. So your Switch Lite, when you're out and about, you don't have to be connected to the internet to play. And then when you get home, you have your dock switch that's always connected to the internet because it just sits at home. So you can just jump on and continue playing the same games that you were playing while you're out. So you just
That's
a little workaround.
okay, I guess, but I'd rather not have to do a workaround. I'd rather Nintendo just allow me to play my games on my system.
We just can't allow you to abuse it, because if
Well,
you have both systems on the same account, then you can just give your Switch Lite to your little cousin or your little brother or something. They can go out. They didn't buy the game. They didn't buy a Switch. They're playing all your games while you're playing all your games. So
we can make
Nintendo's
it work a
losing
bit
money.
like Steam Family Share. I can share my games
Um,
with someone. They can play it so long as I'm not playing it. And then the moment that I log in to try and play a game, they get like a little thing like, "Hey, in 10 minutes we're going to log you out of your game because the primary account holder is playing it or playing a game. Would you like to buy it now?"
well,
I think,
that's fine, but you've already bought the game because it's your same account across both platforms. So you've already bought the game, so they're trying to make you buy the game twice. And like you said, the Switch Lite isn't always going to be connected to the internet. So how are they going to let you know?
well, exactly that is what I'm trying to say is that to me, I don't think the abuse is gonna be. I mean, like you just said, they just found a workaround. You just make your Switch Lite the primary, you download the stuff, you do whatever you want with that.
Mhm.
Your Switch is home. Since that Switch Lite isn't online anyway, you can already hand that to your little brother and be like, "This is yours now," and he can play it. Like,
Mhm. True.
there's going to be a way to abuse it regardless. I think most people aren't going to abuse it. Like, if you're buying a second
Yeah.
Switch anyway, like, I mean, I have family share with my girlfriend. She can play Final Fantasy 15 all she'd like on
Mhm.
Steam. I bought it on my account for her, because she didn't have a PC to run it, so I set her account up, everything like that. She can play that all she wants, as much as she wants, so long as, like, I'm not online at the same time playing something also. So it gets, like, weird. Like, I understand where you're coming from with that. I think that Nintendo should probably just straight up steal that idea of what Sony was going for with the Vita, like the download play idea, where like if I'm playing my game on my Switch Lite and I'm on the bus or I'm wherever I am where you play Switch Lite, the dentist office, and I'm playing Crypt and the Necrodancer, and I get home, connect to my network, I can still keep playing Crypt and the Necrodancer so long as I don't sit down, turn it down on my other. I would love to play my games anywhere, and that's what the Switch is for: is playing your games anywhere. That's what they advertise it for. Even though there's a ton of games I have on Wii U and Wii that I can't play on my Switch because they're not going to support that, and that's a whole nother bucket of fish.
We don't know that yet.
As at this time, they're not supporting. But like, I would love my copy of DuckTales, the remake on my Switch. I would
Well,
love that. I would love.
that's the problem with not it's not even Nintendo's problem. It's the consumer's problem. Because if the consumers would have realized what was happening years and years ago back on the early 3DS life, that Nintendo and the actually on back on the Wii, Nintendo Wii, that if they keep releasing games, the same games on on their own new platforms, and they say you can't bring your old game with you, you have to rebuy it, and people keep rebuying it, then that's not Nintendo's problem. They're
It's
making money. That's
it's
our
not,
problem.
which is what's super weird about them not allowing you to buy older games on the Switch at all.
Exactly.
Like
It's
I would
super weird.
absolute. So what makes the most sense to me, I really do think that Nintendo, not only with their like NES Online, but I think like with Link's Awakening being remade, things like that. I think it really does have to do with them wanting to port games over. Like I had Donkey Kong Country Tropic Freeze on my Wii U as a digital game.
Mhm.
Imagine if I'd have gotten my Switch and just been able to play it on that. The idea that I would buy Tropical Freeze again, not that I have played or bought Tropical Freeze again, I still just play it on my Wii U if I want to play it. The idea of me buying it again is 100% gone. And they immediately re-released it on Switch. They're doing tons and tons of re-releases just from games from the Wii U onto the Switch, and people are buying them. Like you said, consumers will
That's
buy them.
because no one bought a Wii U.
Well, that's the thing. If they put
It was you and two other
Xenoblade
people.
Chronic, yeah. If they put I personally bought two, actually
Oh,
two
oh,
Wii
then one
U's.
other person.
So one other person. Uh, so if they put like Xenoblade Chronicles X on Switch, I'm probably gonna buy. It's a pretty good game.
Mhm.
Like
I
it's
think there was
weeby as
there was
hell.
there's a thread on Reset Area wondering where it's at because it's one of the most highly regarded games on the Wii and it's
Wh-
missing.
Well, they just had that turn the Golden Country whatever thing come down for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I don't think we'll get Xenoblade Chronicles X until next year,
Mhm.
and I think they're gonna do like a remaster or whatever for it next year. I just realized we got into a huge tangent about the online stuff that we are not even talking about the subject we started with.
Well, I mean,
Um,
we don't have to stay completely on topic. We can talk about whatever I want.
no, it's like it's
But
good conversation. But it was just funny because I was like, where did this start? Oh yeah, Nintendo's online services
I don't
for
know.
this stuff.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I feel like there's a reason why we haven't seen any any previous highly regarded titles like from the virtual previous virtual consoles on the Switch.
If Nintendo
I think there's a big reason. I think maybe they're preparing something big for it along the lines of their current NES offering, where they bring select amounts. Maybe they want to get all of the NES library on there first, and then move on to the SNES. Maybe they're going to
they're not
switch
putting the
completely
entire
over.
300 game library from the NES onto it.
I don't think there's three. Was it 300 games on the
There are,
NES?
dude, look it up. There are so many NES.
Well, okay.
Because it was
So
basically a free for all.
let me phrase it like this: they basically run out of games of consequence from the NES life cycle to put onto
716 known
Switch.
licensed game titles released for the NES.
All right, I stand corrected. I apologize.
679 of
But
them were released in
how
North
many of those
America.
are reputable games? Like
It doesn't matter.
15?
Those LGN stink piles, they're still officially Nintendo.
So I feel like we're running out of significant NES games to put onto the service.
I
So
don't
I
know,
feel
man.
like
Cuckoo Land just got dropped.
I feel like they have to be moving into the SNES era. And if they do SNES games, hopefully that means we can move on to the maybe Game Boy games, maybe Game Boy Advance games. Maybe the Game Boy games actually come after the NES life
That
cycle.
could
That
that could
that could be
be the
cool.
case.
But
I
I personally want
feel
SNES games and GameCube games. You give me those two sets of games and I am set.
I feel we're more likely to get a bunch of remakes also. I think with the Zelda window, part of the reason I think that we're getting a 2020 launch on Breath of the Wild 2 is because we had Breath of the Wild, then we had a year where the DLC came out,
Mhm.
then we have Link's Awakening coming out this year, and
Mhm.
then next year you do another 3D, you do Breath of the Wild 2, and then the year after, remake A Link to the Past. I
Oof.
really think it's going to go 3D, 2D, 3D, 2D, because that's the Zelda rotation we've had for years now. 3D, 2D, 3D, 2D, 3D,
Well,
2D.
what would they do with all the other NES titles? Yoshi's World 2, Metroid Prime or Super Metroid. You know
Games
what I mean?
like that, where we already have like Yoshi's Crafted World, stuff like that, Yoshi's Woolly World, that's where Yoshi's going. So we'll get like
So we
Yoshi's
just are gonna
Island.
leave all the other titles that we
No, no,
previously bought.
We'll get those in the
Oh,
like the
just not a
classic.
remastered
We
version?
won't get remakes. We'll get like
Okay,
the
remakes.
originals in
Okay.
that like NES Online thing, and we're gonna get remakes of like the really significant titles. That's the way I'm seeing it goes. We'll get remakes of
So
like
you
A
think
Link to
they'll
the
remake
Past.
Mario 64?
Well, they've already done that with Super Mario Odyssey. See,
Yeah, I guess. There's
Mario's still
spoilers. Avoid
going.
spoilers.
Spoilers, spoilers. Sorry, my bad. But anyway, Mario Odyssey means to me that they're going to be making more Mario 3D platforms, but they're probably never going to make another traditional Yoshi's Island game, not since
Mhm.
like Yoshi's
Oh,
New
no.
Island on the 3DS. So that's the kind of games we're going to be getting. We're going to be getting those kind of games that they have no intention of making new titles for the IP.
Hmm.
But I don't. I think now, if we will ever get another Earthbound game, it's going to be within the next 2 years.
Well, I don't think we'll get. Wasn't there was an article somewhere about
Recently, they talked about the
someone.
potential of the GameCube one. There was a GameCube
Yeah, someone had pitched the
project.
idea of an Earthbound or something. I don't remember who it was,
Yeah,
but
the guy who made it, he pitched Earthbound for the GameCube, and Nintendo
yeah,
basically
yeah,
sort of
shot
like
it
nixed
down.
it. Yeah, over whatever reasons their things are with Mother and all that. But like, I think if we see a game coming out on the classic platform, that we're not getting another Double Dragon, that sort of stuff. I mean, you're gonna get things like a 2D Mario because there's Mario that's on the classic, those core classic games. But like F-Zero dropped on the classic, we're not getting another F-Zero game. Or
Mm.
literally the exact opposite. They're building hype for a new F-Zero game.
So how
Like,
does Nintendo determine which of their games are going to get remakes and which ones are just going to get ported over? And then when do they port them over?
well, see, I just assume that they throw down the chicken bones, read them, and decide what they're gonna do. I
All
don't.
right then.
I
With
don't
that,
know
we'll
the
go
inner
ahead and
workings
move
of
on to the
Nintendo.
next story. Do you want to
um,
take the next story, Jason?
my next story actually isn't Nintendo related, so if you have another Nintendo story, we'll just move on to that.
No, I'm,
We're,
I'm.
we're
That's
going
all the
for full.
Nintendo news that I got.
Okay, we could actually probably start talking about what we've been playing this week, because we've
Oh,
been. It's pretty full episode for news, I think. Because
for
I
Nintendo
just
news,
got like the GTA thing or
and
the
it's
G2A thing and like stuff like that, like stuff that's already been talked to death.
okay. Yeah, that's fine. And it's funny because the games that I've been playing this week were on the Switch.
I also played my Switch like all week.
All right, well, let me know what you've been playing.
Crypt and the Necrodancer, which I dropped a minute ago.
Hmm.
I am not good at it. I feel like I'm doing good and then I die. So it's just a roguelike. So honestly, with it being a roguelike, you're gonna die. I've
Oh yeah.
accepted that. And like I'm getting better each time, so I think I'm doing it okay.
So what's
Uh,
the overview of this game? Like, what is the objective? What are you doing?
your objective
How
is
does it work?
it's a rhythm based like dungeon crawling roguelike.
Hmm.
So like you get like these beats, like the music literally beats, and you get a visual cue for it too. And like you can only move on the beat. If you miss the beat, then your character doesn't move. You're open to attack. You lose your multiplier.
Mm.
All this sort of. And the song, like you're in a dungeon level, and it's like a 4/4. Like your beat's just like mm, mm, like a 4 count.
Mhm.
So then you're like, you got to move on a 4 count. You position yourself to fight monsters, kill the monsters with your weapons. There's reach weapons, webs go around. You kill a boss, and then you go down a level. The
Mhm.
music on the next level is different. It's a different beat. You've got to get used to, move around. I haven't cleared the first zone yet because again, I'm not great at it.
So
Uh,
is it like there's just like this big overworld and then you pick like a
nope, no
dungeon
over.
from the
Well, yeah,
overworld?
yeah. There's actually like there's like a big no, I wouldn't call it an overworld. It's like a
Mhm.
lobby sort of thing where you can like buy upgrades and items and things like that, and then you move
You have to
into
buy the
the
upgrades
area.
on beat too?
You can actually bounce around that area either on beat or off beat. Like it depends.
Uh-huh.
It gives you the
Okay.
option to turn beat off in that area, but if you're going to be playing the game, you're going to need all the practice that you can get. So leave the beat on for the little area where you choose things. Just sort of bounce around. You pick up the thing. You can unlock people that. I'm not super far in the game. I'm digging it. It's very colorful. It's got that 8-bit look.
Mhm. How's the
16,
music?
16-bit. The music's frickin' great, which you'd want in a music-based game, I guess. It's sort of
Yeah.
like it's techno. It's like like it's a nice beat, like
Mhm.
you get that drum. It's basically just dance music. And I picked it up because I had a bunch of Nintendo Gold coins. I paid like 58 total cents for it.
Oh, cool.
Cadence of Hyrule came out, and I was like, that looks rad. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
'cause
try the
it's like
first.
the Nintendo it's like the Legend of Zelda version of that, right? Of Cadence?
Yeah, it's The Legend of Zelda. There's
Or
tons of Zelda remixes to it. You play as Link and Zelda. It looks so cool. I haven't gotten it because I'm super bad at Crypt of the Necrodancer,
mhm. So
so
you're
I
trying to
don't
get
want
a
to
little
spend.
practice?
Yeah, I don't want to spend $20 on a game that I might stop playing. Not against the game, against my capability of the game. I'm worried that I'm going to give up on Crypt of the Necrodancer, so I'm not going to buy Cadence of Hyrule until I feel confident enough to play it.
So what kinda upgrades do you upgrade? Do you upgrade your armor? Do you upgrade your
You
weapons?
don't
Do you, like,
upgrade your
find
armor
weapons?
necessarily. You can find weapons in the dungeons. You can buy certain kind of weapons. You can buy an armor. It's all temporary, like armor stuff like that. The permanent upgrades are things like the amount of hearts you have, which is
Mhm.
the amount of hits you can take, your amount of carryable items, that sort of thing. Like another like permanent upgrade that I just saw. But you collect diamonds or like your big currency down to the thing, and you use those to buy upgrades and all that. You can also use coins to buy stuff, but I haven't quite gotten to that. Like I said, I've been
Like
playing.
microtransactions or
No, there are zero microtransactions.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing for. There's no actual money changing hands, which is a huge
Okay.
refresher for games. No, it's a fun title. I'm enjoying it. It's hard. So again, like
Can you
I've been
buy,
playing it for like 4 hours, and I'm probably 20 minutes into the game.
can you buy, like, upgrades or permanent upgrades or temporary upgrades that allow you to move off beat or
Nah,
that allow
as
you to
far as
change
I've
the
seen
beat
thus
or
far,
music?
there's nothing like that. Well, there's ways to change the beat inside the dungeon. Actually, you can jump on certain blocks that slow the beat down or speed the beat up for like an X amount of time. Like
Mhm.
I've been playing it. Like I said, I've been playing it for like I've got about 4 hours of game time. I want to say, and I've made it to the second or third level
Mhm.
of the first zone. So I'm not great at it. But I've been playing it in between. Like I've been playing Mario Kart again, finally trying to get the 3 stars in every
Oh,
cup.
you're actually doing that? I
Yeah,
only
like
play online.
I do it with every I do it with everyone. Like I do the like
Oh, okay.
I'm doing like 150cc right now. I got like two more trophies in all 3, 4, and then I got mirror cup and then 200cc. I've been playing Revelations 2, which is tons of fun. That's my first time ever
And
playing it.
you said you
Load
played through 1
times.
already, right?
I've played
And
through
you
one
liked
like
it?
3 times now. Yeah, I've played through one
Oh,
3 separate times.
okay.
Twice on the 3DS, once more on my Switch. Two is
So
a lot of fun. Load times are kind of awful though. I don't know if it was like that before.
the
But on
2
Switch, load
takes
times are.
place directly after 1? Like, does it
I'm
you
not
get a
quite
cliffhanger or
sure.
something on 1?
Well, no, one concludes pretty well. Two starts with its own cliffhanger,
Mhm.
and then after your first like
2 starts with a
episode,
cliffhanger?
Yeah, it starts with a cliffhanger. You start
Mm.
out with like there's a thing happening, something happens. You wake up. You are abducted by this group. You wake up in a prison. You play as Claire Redfield and Moira Burton, Barry Burton's daughter. Um,
Oh.
yeah, and
Didn't know
they
he
go
had a
through a
daughter.
bit. Well, her name is Moira, uh,
Interesting name.
and you play through them, and then Barry, Big Bad Barry Burton, shows up on the island a little bit later, like looking for them. And he runs into this incredibly, I'm certain, is some kind of monster little girl, like immediately.
Mhm.
And she's like, "I'm gonna help you out, mister." And he's like, "Sure thing, kid." And it's
But
like, "I
she's a
promise."
monster?
I don't know if she's a
Or she's just
monster.
like you
She's
think
just
she's a
living
monster because
on an
she's so
island.
creepy.
I guarantee she's not that creepy, but I guarantee there's something wrong with this like 10-year-old child who's been living
Who's
on this
just
prison
randomly alone
island
on
full
an
of
island?
monsters. Yeah, like there's a prison island full of monsters and she's alone on it and has been
Oh.
surviving alone for X amount of time. So I guarantee she's like a bioweapon or
So
something. I don't think
so
she's a bad person, but I do think that she is a like a zombie or
so
whatever
you
thing.
mentioned you said Claire was in the game, right? And you say Barry's in the game. These are characters from the original Resident Evil mainline series. So
Yeah,
is
Resident Evil 1's Big Bad
Revelations
Barry Burton and Resident Evil
is
2 Claire
is
Redfield.
Revelations like a spin-off, or does it take place somewhere in the Resident Evil timeline?
It
How
takes
does that
place in the
work?
timeline. Revelations 1 takes place after the events of 5.
After
No, sorry,
5?
before the events of 5.
Okay.
It's very, very specific on your time frame because at the end of Revelations 1, again, we're getting the spoilers. It shows you the mission that Chris and Jill go on where Jill gets abducted.
Oh.
Like it shows you that happening.
Mhm.
Um, and then Revelations 2, I'm not really even sure where it takes place in the Resident Evil timeline because
Mhm.
I didn't play 6 to any sort of length.
That's why I'd asked you about the timeline, where it takes place in timeline, because because I know that 7 actually has that little girl running around. I don't remember her name, but would does that little girl in Revelations 2 look similar to the little girl in 7? Do you think
I
that could be the
don't
same
I
character?
don't think it's the same girl.
No.
I doubt it. I highly
Hmm.
doubt it. I could be wrong. I don't know. I've amazingly not
Yeah.
gotten any spoilers for Revelations 2 in
Hmm.
all of the years it's been out. I guess I'll see. I'll report back. But I didn't touch my PlayStation. I didn't touch Horizon really at all this week.
Oh no.
I just pulled my Switch out and started playing around with it, and I had a kind of a busy week, so for most of my Switch.
We gotta finish off that Horizon. That story is
Oh, I'm
fantastic.
gonna jump right back into that probably next week.
All right. Well, the I've just been playing Apex Legends still on that Battle Pass grind. I think I'm up to level 20. I'm at 24 because at level 25 you get this really cool looking Caustic skin, and Caustic is kind of this like gas trapper. So he gets like these throwables that he can put anywhere on the map, wherever you can physically get to, and you throw them down, and a little thing pops up out of the ground. And anytime an enemy character gets close enough, or or a particular character shoots it, then the gas cloud goes out and it poisons the people in the area, not teammates or anything, but it
Hmm.
poisons enemies in the area, and only Caustic himself can actually see enemies that are in his gas cloud. So it's kind of cool. You can set up kind of different traps and stuff. But he gets this really cool looking skin. One of my probably my favorite skin in the battle pass at level 25. So I'm super close to getting that. I've this far in the battle pass, I still do not like the weapon skins. They are horrible. They are just not creative at all. I don't feel like they almost feel like just color variations on the weapons. But
Yeah,
there are the legendary. I mean, I have some legendary weapon skins that I've got in the base game, and they're not too bad. There's some variations there. They kind of change up the gun model a little bit that makes them look a little bit cooler. And you actually get this really cool one for the Spitfire whenever you initially buy the battle pass for season 2. It kind of like it has like a jaw, like a golden jaw on the end of the gun. It's like a heavy machine gun, so it's kind of cool. But the weapon skins are not good. But one of the things that I want to talk about is the loading screens, because they have new loading screens, and they have new variations on the music for the theme music of the game, which I've talked about a little bit last week. And I've unlocked a bunch of them just up to level 24 that I'm at. And let me tell you, man, these things are so cool because each time that you get into a match, you have to load in, you get to pick your loading screen before you load in, and you could and the screens they have descriptions of the characters because each loading screen is specific to each one of the legends that you can choose from. And so
Yeah.
they have different backstories on each of the different characters, and they all have this like a cool situation they're in. Like one of the characters, Gibraltar, he's like in a firefight and he has like his shield up in front of him. He has like bullets and debris flying by him in the loading
Oh man,
screen.
Reinhardt sounds. No, no, I'm
Then they
excited.
have one bloodhound. He's like in the middle of this like decrepit forest where like everything's decayed and stuff. And he has like a little dagger out on the
I
ground.
think
He's
you're
kneeling.
describing a swamp.
It's kind of a swamp. It's more like a burned forest almost. And
Okay.
he has like a crow with him, like a almost like a companion, but you don't actually get the crow in the game, so I'm not sure where the crow comes from. But the whole screen looks really cool. And then
Season
I just
3.
actually yeah, maybe. Who knows?
You get the
Maybe a new
crow
ability
itself.
or
He's a
something.
new. No, he's a character.
That'd be pretty cool. But
Season
uh
3 crow.
but I actually got for my favorite character, Mirage. So it's really cool because a Mirage can actually make a duplicate of himself. It's kind of like a hologram basically, and you can send the hologram out, and it just runs in whichever direction you send them in, and people can shoot it, and then you'll get a response like you'll say ha 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 bamboozled them or ha ha gotcha or something like that because
Yeah.
the enemy character thought that the the hologram was you. So
I'm all
it's
for
pretty
any
cool.
time a game uses the word bamboozled.
Oh yeah, it's so funny because he'll be like, whenever he goes to send it out, he can't really say the word bamboozle, so he'll be like, hey, go just go fool him, because he has like this speech thing. It's really funny,
That's funny.
but his loading screen because he can make holograms himself. He's standing at a bar and he's got a drink in his hand and he's hitting on this lady that's in the bar and he has a hologram behind the bar, like making a drink, and then he has another hologram outside the bar, and he's serving drinks, and all three of them are looking at the woman. So it's pretty funny because he's
That's
such a
pretty good.
ladies' man. He's all about the women, and like I said,
Clearly.
each of the loading screens has descriptions that you can read about the different characters. You can get background on them, and you can combine that with the music for the entrance battle theme, and it's so cool because they have each character also gets their own variation of the entrance battle theme music. So the first one you unlock is for Watson, which is the new legend, and
Wait, is
hers is
Apex on Switch?
oh, no, Apex is not on Switch. I this is the one game that I actually is not on Switch that I played this
Okay, I
weekend,
was
but
actually a little confused because you were just like, all of my games were on Switch, Apex Legends, and I was
I've
like going with it. Listening, I was like, wait a
I
minute.
apologize. I apologize, but I've just played so much Apex Legend this past week that I
Leonard,
just wanted
edit
to
out
talk
all of
about
his
it.
Apex information. This is a PS4 game. It's no longer included into the podcast.
But it's so cool because like the Watsons is more like proud. It's more like a proud variation. I don't know if that makes sense for the music, but it just seems more like sophisticated and proud.
Is it very
Um,
like swelling, sort of
yeah, yep, that's
deep
exactly what it
horns?
is. And then like
Any
the next one,
strings in the?
I'm not sure what instruments they use.
Because
I
when you
didn't look
say
into
when
all
you
that.
say proud music, I'm thinking drum swells,
Yeah.
deep horns,
It's very impactful.
baritone
It's my
saxophones.
favorite so far, and I've unlocked Octane, which Octane's ability is he stabs himself with a syringe, which gives him extra speed at the cost of some of his health,
Oh,
and so
he's the guy featured in the season 2 thing,
yeah,
right?
he was the
Okay.
guy featured. No, he was the guy featured in season one. Watson is the person featured in
I meant in
season
the
two.
trailer for season 2 where he's like running.
Oh yeah, yeah, he was at the beginning. That's right.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and so because he's more of a fast-paced, like action-packed character, like his music is like super hyped and super fast beat, and it's all a variation of the same original entrance battle theme, which is super cool. And like I said, they have one for each individual character. So once you find your favorite character of the bunch of the legends, I think there's like 7 or 8 now, then you can match the loading screens and the music variations, and it's just really cool to match them up. And so, but yeah, I've been playing a ton of Apex Legends. The challenges, they're okay. Like there's some of them that are kind of dumb, that are a little bit frustrating. But I find that if I end up playing with people that I know that I actually talk to, then the challenges are much easier than just trying to play with randoms, because each random person is trying to do their own challenge at the same time you're trying to do your challenge. So if you have to land in this area, or you have to get so much damage with this character, then that person has to go land in this completely different area, and they need to use the same character, something like that. And typically there's no communication because no one really on Apex uses the voice chat features. But I mean, it's so much fun still. The
That's
other game that I've been playing was Rocket League. I've gone back to Rocket League on my
a long
Nintendo
ways to go
Switch.
back to Rocket.
And now I originally played it on the PlayStation 4 and absolutely loved it because it was free as part of the PlayStation Plus years ago, back when it first came out. That was actually there's a huge story on how them releasing with PlayStation Plus for free actually saved Rocket League from
Yeah,
saved
I've heard about
Psyonix from going
that
under.
too. They
Yeah.
100% like people learned about it on the PS4. I learned about it from the PS4.
Yeah,
I
that
actually at the time when it came out,
mhm.
my roommate at the time, I walked in, he was playing soccer with cars. I was like, "What's this? Tell me more."
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I was actually watching Twitch one day, and the number one game on Twitch was Rocket League. And I remember looking at the thumbnail, and I was like, this is that stupid game that's on PlayStation Plus. It's some stupid cheap indie game. I have no interest in this whatsoever. So then I clicked on the game and I was watching people play it, and I saw the cars flying through the air hitting the ball, and I was like, this is freaking awesome. And I immediately went to PlayStation Plus, downloaded it, and I've been playing ever since. But yeah, as soon as it came out on Nintendo, like once since when they announced the Switch, I said, "Please, Psyonix, please bring this game to the Nintendo Switch." And of course, they did. So that's where I primarily play. I have more
Full
time in my.
crossplay and everything, actually. So big,
Yep.
big helping
Well,
hand to Psyonix. Big,
it
big
didn't
clap
come
for them.
until months later, but yeah, they end up getting full crossplay, which is nice. Not cross progression, which if they had cross progression, I probably would have the battle pass for this. But there's no cross progression, so I'd have no battle pass.
And then
But
Epic's going to take away the crossplay.
actually, because Epic bought Psyonix, that might mean we will get cross progression now. Because Epic has a way of pushing first party title, or pushing the big console guys around to get their way. So we'll have to wait and see. But
Okay.
yeah, I've been playing. I have more time on the Switch version of it now than I do on PlayStation. And the reason why I've been playing this is because this summer they have a radical summers theme going on, a radical 80s theme going on throughout the game. And I'm a sucker for anything 80s. I love the 80s. So it started off last month where they had 80s blockbuster movies was the primary focus. So they had focus on like Back to the Future, on like Ghostbusters, and they had actually had a special game mode. I don't remember what the name of it was called, but you were basically your cars were basically Ghostbusters, and the ball was the ghost. So you had to use the Ghostbuster ray, and you had to attach it to
I
the
saw that,
ball
yeah, and just carry it
and
over.
carry
Yeah.
it to the goal. And what was cool about it was the more of your teammates had their beams on the ball, the stronger that your beams were in carrying the ball over the other team. So if the enemy team only had one beam on the ball and your team had three, then your team would be carrying the ball over their team because they only have one. So there's a little bit of strategy in there. You had to work together with your
What
teammates.
happens if you cross the streams?
I didn't see. I don't know if you could. That game mode's actually over now. I don't know if they'll bring it back
Oh, so
because
it was garbage.
it was a limited time mode. Now, the thing I do have to say about it is that Rocket League will actually show you the amount of people playing the game total, and it'll show you how many people are in each game mode. That
Yeah.
particular game mode had less than 1,000 people. I think it was like 400 or 500 people or something playing it, so it wasn't that many. But we also play at night, so it could just be that time of day. But the reason why I actually went back to it this week, though, is because they started the second part of the Radical 80s theme for the summer, and that's the summer TV shows, I believe it's called, where the blockbuster TV shows where they're featuring things like Knight Rider
What
and other 80s TV
what
shows.
about Alf? Will
I
Alf
don't
be featured?
actually. I want to say Alf is represented. I'm not 100%,
Because if
but
you're
I
talking
want
about
to
80s
say.
TV, you gotta hit Alf. You gotta hit Knight Rider.
And there was another one. I don't quite remember.
Transformers? Are they doing Transformers by chance?
No, I didn't see Transformers in there. I assume that they would want to, but I believe Hasbro. would have
Yeah,
come
there's
out and said
licensing. I
no.
assume there's tons of licensing issues with it. So I
But
like with Rocket League though, I feel like you'd want to like it's so big. Throw your Transformers in it. Throw your Hot Wheels in
yeah,
it. Like
hmm
get that name out
well,
there, man.
well, that's the thing. They have a big deal with Hot Wheels where they've actually had Hot Wheels cosmetics in the game. They have had Hot Wheels cars that you could buy. They actually have a deal with Hot Wheels. I actually own them, where in real life you can buy Hot Wheels versions of the Rocket League cars. They have two of the Octane car, which is like the main car for Rocket League,
Yeah.
the the show car or whatever. They
Look,
have
I've
an
played
orange or
several
blue
minutes of
version.
Rocket League. I know exactly what you're
But they have actually those in real life. They're like $1 or something if you go to Target and pick them up. I have both of them because I
That's
think it
pretty
looks
cool.
awesome.
Pretty rad. Yeah.
But the reason why I jump back into it is for the 80s TV shows this week, and they have a new mode called Spike Rush. And this new mode is very interesting. It's also very frustrating. The way it works is normally Rocket League is played 3 versus 3. You have 3 people on your team, 3 people on the enemy team, and it's just a game of soccer basically. Now, and they scattered throughout the map, there are different points on the map where you can pick up boosters. So you can pick a boost for your car that helps you fly through the air, hit the ball harder, stuff like that. Now, in the game Spike Rush, everyone has spikes. I think it takes like 2 or 3 seconds after the start of the match, after you hit the ball, and everyone just grows spikes out of their car. Now what happens
Spike
is
Rush, there are 0 spikes.
when when you go to hit the ball, instead of hitting the ball, it sticks to you. And depending on where it sticks, because you can actually stick the ball to the bottom of your car, so you actually can't drive. So you have to take that into account. So
That's funny.
depending on where you stick it, you can actually just basically drive the ball directly into the goal. Now, whenever you get the ball, you immediately lose all of your boost and you can't pick any boost up. So you can only drive at a regular speed, at a normal speed, while every other car around you can actually drive using boost. Also,
If they hit you, can they like if they hit you specifically, does it knock the ball off? Can you hit the ball off of somebody, like run into the ball and take the ball with you? Like, how does that exactly work? The sticky.
in the normal game mode, what happens is you have to be going at a certain speed using your boost in order to hit up enemy player and completely destroy them to get them to respawn. Otherwise, if you don't hit them while you're going fast enough, you just hit them and you basically bounce off of each other. Now in this game mode, the same thing happens if you don't have the ball. You'll hit someone and another player doesn't have the ball. If you hit each other, you just bounce off of each other. But if you're carrying the ball, any enemy team member that hits you while they're carrying the ball will immediately blow you up, no matter what
Oh,
speed they're
whoa,
going.
okay.
Yeah. So if you're holding the ball and you see the enemy team coming at you, then you have to. They have a button. I think you click like the left analog stick, and you can actually let go of the ball. So
Okay, all right.
you can actually time it to where because you can hit the X button or what is it, B or something on the Switch,
I
and
think
you can
it's
actually jump. You can jump over the enemy teammates, and if you jump at a certain angle and hit the left stick to let go of the ball, it's actually like you're throwing the ball, and so
okay, so you
immediately you
can
can.
still score like regular. You don't have
Mhm.
to drive into the goal. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you can still just knock it in there if you throw it right. When your teammate hits you, I think your teammate actually takes the ball off of you if a teammate hits you.
Okay,
But
like a pass. That's all right. That sounds fun.
so
I can get down with
it's
that.
fun. It's fun, but like I said, it's also very frustrating because people
Oh,
have been finding new ways to like they've been like they'll just drive straight up a wall and then just fall into the goal, and I get so frustrated because I'm not very good at flying in the game yet. I've been playing a long time and I'm still not good at flying. And they
I'm
just
bad at the
literally
whole game, so don't feel that bad.
they literally just fall into the goal and no one can stop them because no one on my team knows how to fly. But I mean, it's kind of fun. I probably played a total of like 3 or 4 hours or something. I think actually gives you the most in-game currency. I think it's like cassette tapes. You can use the cassette tapes to go to the store and buy different cosmetics that are exclusive to that store that
That's
you actually.
pretty rad.
Yeah, you actually can't buy any type of loot boxes to get those particular cosmetics,
Oh, some
and
premium currency, I see.
and they include like you can get like the ET moon where for rims, so like the ET the kid and
I
ET in
did
a
see
little
that.
basket.
I watched the trailer for this. It all
Yeah,
looked pretty freaking cool. It makes
yeah.
me wish I were good at the game.
They
I
have
actually have my Switch about a foot and a half away from my foot. I could just play Rocket League right now.
yeah, exactly.
Frustrated and leave.
They have for like one of the hood ornaments or the roof ornaments, you can actually get like the skateboard was used in Back to the Future. You can actually get like for your boost, your boost. What is the cosmetic for the boost? I can't think of it what it was called, but you can actually be like the green Slimer from Ghostbusters. So they have
That's
some
pretty cool.
some different cool cosmetics that you can earn by getting the cassette tapes. Well, like I said, the Spike Rush mode, it's interesting. I'll probably have to play some more of it. I'm not 100% sold on it. It's super frustrating to just as soon as you get the ball, like another character just blows you up immediately. So I'm not sure how much I like that yet.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an interesting dynamic, like I
Have
said,
you
because you can
tried
get
getting good though?
not yet. I'm actually that's on my
Okay.
list of to do things tomorrow,
Yeah,
so
it's
I'll
like
have to.
second or third down, I would imagine. It's just that get good
But
GITGUD
okay, I'll let me go ahead and type
to
that
make sure.
back
You
in.
don't want a GETGOOD because it's not the same.
But yeah, like I said, it's definitely interesting. You can get into to some weird situations. Like one time, I was landing like down on the ball, so it got stuck like under like my front left wheel, and so like I
You're
couldn't
tumbling
drive
end over
anywhere. So
end.
the only thing I could do was get blown up. So I mean, it's got some cool situations that you can get into, but I'll have to play a little bit more of it to see if I actually like it. But some of the other games I actually just touch on real quick. I actually downloaded Warframe on Switch, which I'm not sure if I'm gonna play it on
I
Switch
don't
because
foresee me ever being able to play it on the Switch. I have tons and tons of hours of Warframe. I got like 700 hours of Warframe.
yeah.
Leonard also plays the daylights out of Warframe. If you download Warframe on PC, Chris, all right, and you want to play it to any sort of length of time with mouse and keyboard, I got a guy right now. We only have a 10-person clan say
I don't know. I'll think about it. If I do get it, I might download it on PlayStation 4. I'm not sure, but I
why
also
do you want to play
downloaded.
it with a controller? It's not
Well,
made to play with a
the
controller.
thing is, like, I just like to play games with the superior controller with a superior controller over the
Dude, if you want, all
inferior
right,
keyboard and mouse.
you can plug your controller into your PC, play the real version.
Then I have to sit at the computer. I don't even want to sit at the computer to talk to
No, no,
you.
just run an HDMI cable to your television. There's so many ways around this now, but
or
a bit of a jab
or
at
what I
console
could
there,
just
but
do
I
instead of
freaking
like
love my
getting my
consoles.
computer, plugging my computer in, getting the HDMI cable, I could just turn on my PlayStation. You see what I mean?
PlayStation's HDMI cable. I don't understand the problem, Chris.
So anyway, I also downloaded the game Realm Royale. I'm not too familiar with what exactly this is,
It's just
but
a big 100 man deathmatch
well, I assume that's what Royale
battle royale.
means.
Yeah,
So I'm looking forward to Super
given that.
Mario Royale, which is actually kind of a game mode in Super Mario Maker 2.
And of course, Pokemon Royale,
Of
which
course, that's right.
we
The game that's
haven't
totally
programmed.
in development right now.
100%. We've been called in about it.
Absolutely.
I don't want
I
to
gotta
talk
check my
about who
pager.
exactly is developing it. Monolith. So
All right. Well, do you
that
have
was a
anything
weird cough.
else that you've been playing this week?
I've just been dabbling around a lot. I've been playing tons of Warframe. They had a drop for Nightwave Season 2, which I can get into next with that. Do we want to talk about our streaming channel, which we've not streamed on yet? You
Yeah,
want to
we
talk
can hit
about
that
that?
up. That's
Good,
fine.
well, good.
We've set up a Twitch channel called Overnight Gaming underscore. If you guys want to head over there and check us out on twitch.com/. Actually, I don't even think it.
Well, here's the thing. We'll get the link to Leonard. Leonard can put it in the video description when he uploads.
I don't think it's called twitch.com twitch.tv/ Overnight Gaming underscore.
Let's just get the thing up.
All
We'll
right.
just
Yeah,
have
that's
Leonard
fine.
figure out what it is. Just have Leonard share the link in the bottom of the
It's
video if he
definitely
could.
up though. I know
It
that
exists. I
you were
haven't
talking
streamed
about
anything to it. I
streaming.
want to stream something this coming week. This past week was way busier than I intended to stream this past week, but it just got way busier on me than I thought I could. And then, like I said, I started playing my Switch and pretty much fell straight down the hole on that. I might stream some Warframe, show some people how to play that because clearly you're incapable.
Absolutely.
Um,
100% agree.
and then whenever, how about we do a streaming set where you come in as a baby frame and Leonard and I
Ah.
nurse you into becoming a real player.
Yeah, when you guys download it on PlayStation, we'll talk about that.
You suck.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for today. We want to go ahead and thank everyone. I'm Chris. This is
We
Jason.
could not do it with without the four of you that are listening right now.
I'm sure that there's at least 5. So I know my mom is watching. That's one.
All right, that's fair. I didn't count. I didn't count your mom. Hi, Miss
All right.
Parks.
Big thanks to Leonard for editing the podcast, helping us out, and we will see everyone next week. Thanks, guys.
Adios, amigos.